I got to a point where I was like, yeah, I go around the country and people know my name and know who I am and see me on this or that or whatsoever. But hype don't pay the bills. And music has never, ever given me the lifestyle that I wish to have.
The man, the myth, the legend that is Wariko Reeks.
Yes,
How you feeling that side of the camera?
I'm feeling great over this side of the camera. The question is, how are you guys feeling? Are you guys ready
It's not a
to
day off for
interview?
us now, is it?
Bit of pressure back on you guys.
I know that I Ain't Lying for you is pure passion, and this has been a long time in the making.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people really want to know exactly how you feel about it, what the I Ain't Lying show is, what you perceive it to be. But I also know that a lot of people will have come to this podcast because of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to ask a few questions that some people, you know, are definitely interested in.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in your career, for those that don't know, Wariko is a grime legend. I'm not even making it up, like, I think that's fair. Would you consider yourself that way, do you think? How would you consider yourself?
It's crazy because, like, I see myself as a very modest guy, and it's hard for me to describe myself as a legend because I know that there's so much that this I know there's so much that my potential is super high. Like, if you go back and check out like my skill level to the time, like at the times when I was overly active and whatsoever, like I feel as though my lyrical skill level and whatsoever was always super on par, if not in the high echelons, you know what I'm saying? And due to certain things what have happened in my life, and due to just me myself probably looking at it, I could have been so much more. Like, this is how I feel myself. But at the same time, I feel as though if I'm being real about it and looking at things for what it is, like, I would have to probably say that if you're talking about grime on a UK whole and going through the story of grime, I feel as though I would have to be mentioned, because we know that there's always been this, I don't even want to call it a divide, but there's always been this thing like London grime, the capital city, being being the place of where grime derives from, and then you've got out of London grime, and Wariko was pushing out of London grime, one of the first. You know what I'm saying?
You lived in Nottingham and London, so you've seen both sides of that, haven't you?
I would say that when I moved, because I moved to London in my school days. So I moved to London when I was like, it was the beginning of year 9 in school. Yeah, I actually went to a school in Croydon called Ashburton High. So I moved there, and at the time I was always musical and always creative, but I wasn't actually pushing music, or didn't. I wasn't really going. I never had no musical structure in terms of ambition and wanting to be a part of the industry at the times while I was living in London. But when I moved back to Nottingham, when I was like 22, 23, that's when I moved back to Nottingham, I kind of came back with that. I kind of felt that mission. Like, I kind of felt like, you know what? And I must say also, it was when I got approached to join NG Cartel, so General and Bad Boy T, if you know them, you know them. They were a big part of giving me that belief and letting me see the vision, you know what I'm saying, as to who I could be, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I would say living in London, I never seen that side because I weren't pursuing that side while I was living in London. I only pursued music as a career, as something more than a hobby, once I moved back to Nottingham. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that while I've been operating within the music industry, I've only ever seen that from a Nottingham side of things. But I had that added advantage of living in London, of going school with Londoners, of knowing that they're just like me. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys, you know what I'm saying? They're not, they live in the place where the mechanism is and the infrastructure is, but them themselves aren't no different to me. So I always knew I can go and link with these guys and go and operate around them and brush shoulders with them. And that's what I've done.
I think that's amazing, but I think you're also particularly well known for your lyricism, and I think that lyricism comes from your ability to write.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we write this show together,
Mm-hmm.
and when we're putting concepts together and we're discussing things, the way that you compile information and even the way that you speak
Mm-hmm.
has been a big part of creating the show. How much of your writing skill is inspired by that flair, that creative flair of writing lyrics that gets put into the I Ain't Lying show, do you think? Is that just a gift innate to you, or do you think it's a muscle that you're reflexing?
Well, what I would say is I would class myself as a wordsmith, as a poet, natural born poet, like it's tattooed on my wrist. Like I was doing, before I'd done music, I was doing poetry because I always had a good grasp of the English language. And that was due to my Auntie Joan. Like my Auntie Joan, bless her, like she used to play word Yahtzee with me, and she put a lot of time into me in that way. And due to my upbringing, due to I kind of grew up in a bit of a, it would be dysfunctional a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So my auntie had always, when I'd go to stay with my grandma and my auntie, I feel as though my auntie always made a conscious effort to nurture that side of me, because she's always said that I was reading newspapers from a very young age. She says that the first day I went into primary school, they were like trying to judge what color, because remember you used to have the colors coding for your reading ability. And the first day I went in, they were like, well, we're gonna have to make him a free reader. And they were like, yeah, just be a free reader from the very get-go. And I actually remember that, and I attribute that to my Auntie Joan. So like I was a wordsmith from before, so when it came to poetry in Berridge School, I was always excelling in poetry because I had that grasp of the language. Like, and I've been told that well, my little brother says that he went back to Berridge School probably like 20 plus years after I'd left there, and he said on the wall there's still my poem. My poem is still on that wall, like in the Hall of Fame of Berridge School. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, I would have probably been about 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? So it was always transferring that ability over to music was just always very easy to me. It was always easy.
And you've always been musical as well, like you've got a good ear.
So what I would say is when it comes to creative writing, I feel as though that has always been my forte, creative writing. And I feel as though obviously I may need to take time to make the transition, but I'll give me some time and I'll always make the transition over. You know what I'm saying? Into whatever field of creative writing you want me to take it to. Like I got A-star in drama. You know what I'm saying? That was writing plays and whatsoever. Always been sick at poetry, like lyricism. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just always came easy to me. So I would say coming over to writing I Ain't Lying show things with the help of yourself, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's just effortless.
So with that then, you have taken all of this wealth of experience, incredible career to date, and you decided to write a live talk show. So can you tell us more about how it's come about and link some of it up? Like, did you just wake up one morning and go, do you know what? Or was there an inspiration? Was there a seed of it?
I would say like it got to a point in my music career, yeah, where like people might think, like a lot of people say to me, Reeks, why did you give up? Like you gave up a bit too early or whatsoever. But it weren't that I gave up. It was always that like while I've been doing music, I've always been a black del boy, as I call it. You know what I'm saying? Like life's real. I gotta prosper out here as well. I gotta pay my bills. I gotta wear the clothes I like to wear. You know what I'm saying? I gotta eat. If I want to say, yeah, I want to eat some lobster today, I'd like to eat lobster. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta deal with life. You know what I'm saying? If I got a girlfriend, I want to be able to take her to the cinema. You know what I'm saying? I got children. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to do what I need to do. So it's like music. I got to a point in music where due to certain little things what happened and whatsoever, and just life itself, I got to a point where I was like, yeah, I go around the country and people know my name and know who I am and see me on this or that or whatsoever, but hype don't pay the bills. And music has never, ever given me the lifestyle that I wish to have. You know what I'm saying? So I got to a point where it was like, let me start dealing with life, innit? Who am I away from Wariko? Because I'm not Wariko, I'm Warren. I'm Warren Romeo Turgot. You know what I'm saying? Like that's who I am fundamentally. And I was a popular guy before I done music. Like I was popular in all my schools I've been to. I've been one of the popular guys. You know what I'm saying? Always had a nice girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that real, like before I done music, you know what I'm saying? So I felt as though I got to a point in my life where it was like, right, Warren, look yourself, that epiphany moment, look yourself in the mirror and be like, what you're known for isn't really getting you what you want. And it's like, you know what? Go find yourself away from this. Remember who you are away from this. You know what I'm saying? So, but while I've been, and I will say that since I've took that time out, people will say, oh, people think you fell off because you're not in the limelight. But I haven't fell off. My life has, you know what I'm saying? My seeds, I've planted seeds which are growing and real life seeds. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to talk about them, but I've planted real life seeds which are growing and I'm in a better position as a man since distancing myself from the limelight and the spotlight of music. But at the same time, music, that creative thing, it's a bug. And you can step away from it, but it kind of eats away at you when you're not feeding that bug. You know what I mean? And so I've always made my little Facebook statuses, and people have, I believe, due to the fact that my Facebook has always had people who listen to my music, I've always believed I could write a status what another person could write and get way more interaction just due to me being me. So over the years, I've kind of been very aware of that. And I've always thought to myself, there will come a time where this medium will benefit the next step of your creative process. You know what I mean? So many people over the years have said to me like, yo, your Facebook, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I seen you write this or, so I've been aware that, this is something. How can I monetize this?
Sorry to cut you, but just to break it down for the viewers, for the past 10 or 11 years, I think, Warren's personal account has been a hive of activity because if you remember, Warren's literally just said he's really popular, he's always been a philanthropist, he's interested in people and he's got opinions. So for the past 10 or 11 years, he's been writing controversial statuses on his Facebook, sometimes he'll play devil's advocate in those statuses and decide that he's not going to make a decision on it, and he asks the opinion of his followers. And what happened was viral before viral even existed, with people interacting, giving their points of view, and you took the time out to pick through each one. You wouldn't do it all the time.
No.
It would just be the odd little gem dropped in. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about something massive and viral. It wasn't just like a sort of small little, 100 follower thing. It was loads of people having a discussion. So just to pass it back.
Yeah, it was maxed out. Like my Facebook for years before the podcast craze and all of this, my Facebook has been maxed out with the 5,000 friends and had 8,000 followers on my Facebook. That Facebook got deleted, but so I've created another one and maxed out again. Never added people, it just maxed out again. You know what I'm saying? And this Facebook, what I have now, is actually my third one. So if I would have kept my original one, that may have had like 25,000 followers or something, with like the you know what I mean? So like from there, like I say, I've been living life, doing what I'm doing, but at the same time, I'm realizing now that I've been using my Facebook to feed that creative hunger. You know what I mean? So I write something, or I will have a view on a current affair, or I'll write something to do with love or romance, or I'll just state an opinion to see what people think of it and whatsoever. And yeah, so like I say, over the years, I've had people say to me, Reeks, you need to monetize that, this, that, whatsoever. And I've had a few people really message me and say, let me know when you wish to do something with this. I will help you with it. You know what I mean? And then I would say probably 1.5 to 2 years ago, Casey the rookie, he said he was looking to start a podcast and whatsoever. And he put it to me, he kind of said to me, like, I think me and you would be good making a podcast together. And I was like, you know what? He's a guy who has been, who has played manager role to me in my music career. He's a guy I look up to. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like a big brother figure. If I was to call him about anything, he would give me a good viewpoint, a good perspective. To this day, he still is that one of them guys for me. You know what I mean? So I said to him, yeah, well, let me know. I'll be the side guy with you. And so he, in my mind, I thought me and him were going to create a podcast together. But he actually called me one day and says, oh yeah, do you want to come and do an episode? And I was like, oh, I thought we were doing it together. But obviously that would have been a probably a miscommunication or something. I would never have a bad vibe with him. You know what I'm saying? I just thought, oh, that must have been a miscommunication. I thought we were doing it together. So I went, like I say, because I got high respect for him. You know what I'm saying? So I went, done a episode on his platform, and then, like I say, my mind was like, oh, so that means I might need to create my own then, because I'm kind of, in my mind, I kind of was waiting to do that with him. You know what I'm saying? So then it was like, okay. And then I was speaking to this lady, and this lady was like, this lady was into, them females are into their crystals and their jewels, and when it's a full moon, they get all their crystals out and energize them, and she done tarot readings and whatsoever. And she was asking me for a while, like, oh, can I read your hand, and can I do the tarot card with? And I said to her, like, due to my upbringing, my grandma would tell me that was witchcraft. I know that as witchcraft. So I said, I can't give you my palm to read. I said, but by all means, if you wish to do your tarot thinking of me or whatsoever, but I said, yeah, I can't give you my palm, basically. I don't know if that's witchcraft. I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, like months later, she's called me out the blue and she said, listen, Reeks, I've done like 6, 7 tarot readings while thinking of you, with you in mind. And she says, every time I do this tarot reading, it comes up with the card which says, share your voice. Yeah, like this is what she said to me. She says, it comes up with this same, and it was a card of a man with like, in some snow, like a mountain. What do you call it? Them, you know, them horns? Yeah, like one of those, yeah, and it's like a guy with a horn like that. And underneath it says, share your voice. So she told me that, and I was like, wow, that's like some spiritual calling. At the same time as that, I've had one of my friends who I know from the, you know what I'm saying, from the streets, like one of my friends, he's always, like me and him have gone various different places together, out of town, from out of town to Nottingham, and he's seen different people come up to me in just the most random places, like, oh, are you Wariko? Oh, are you Wariko? Are you Wariko? He's just seen that so many different times out of the town, in the, so he's like, Reeks, why are you not taking advantage of this? Like, yo, that's crazy. Like, you've actually got something what you should be building on. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I've had it for years. I've been getting that for years. That's not new to me. And that's, I don't even say that boasting. Like, if you know about the thing, like, you'll know I've been having that for years. The Miss Dynamite tune, I was doing tracks with Miss Dynamite and going Sidewinder like 10 plus years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I've had that for years. So it's kind of like norm to me. I'm numb to that. So he's always said to me like, yeah, Reeks, listen, anytime you're ready, I've got you. Let's do something, this, that. And then while all these little signs are coming together, I got a call one day from my friend Jerome Grundy. People might know him as Fifth Nova. He was doing the Monarchy podcast. And me and him was speaking, and he was like, Reeks, I think, because me and him always have some epic conversations, because me and Jerome we go back way, way back. Like, when I told you, Jerome was a guy who when I was young, I've got a memory of going to Rock and Reggae, which is a Nottingham carnival kind of thing, summer annual event. And I'll never forget him with his hand up on the tent. So he was smoking a spliff or something. And I remember looking at this guy. I've always been like, I'm sure I'm like 3 years younger than him or something. But I've always rode with the older guys. And I remember looking at this guy, looking up to him. And I remember seeing hairs under his armpit. And I remember looking at him like, wow, he's got hairs under his armpit. And I remember going home, because Rock and Reggae was like, I'm sure it was like 2-3 days or something. And I said the next day, I'm going to wear my Phoenix Suns vest with my bleached jeans, and I'm going to put a little bit of mascara on my thing. No lie, I literally done this. And I put some mascara underneath my armpit, because I was like, Jerome had these hairs under his armpit. I need to have these. Like, I don't have one. And I was like, it was important to me. So the next day, I'll never forget getting my mum's little eyeliner thing, and I put some just on the sides and went there. You know what I'm saying? So we've had conversations, and he knows. She don't need to know that. Yeah, I've done worse things than that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but so yeah, he actually said to me like, Reeks, you should start a podcast. At the time, podcast was the word what was being said. So it was like, after that conversation I had with him, that was like, right. Yeah. The KC, the rookie situation. Yeah. And I've got my different people, like I say, there's many more people over the years who have said to me like, your Facebook is like, people have said to me like, all these podcasts what are coming out, you've been doing this on your Facebook for free. You've been making debates and whatsoever. People have come to me to say, why don't you start a blog? Or I'll start a blog for you. Or this, that, but I've been doing other things. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, all of the culmination of all these signs, I was like, right. I remember waking up. I says, right, I'm gonna do this. And
what did you do? You rang people.
I rang people.
And did you know how it looked in your head? Did you have a clear idea of what the show would be, or did you just sort of know that you needed a particular team, or how did you go about it? Not like, I don't want a blow for blow thing, but was it like you woke up and you knew that it was your calling, but you couldn't quite put your finger on exactly what it was? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely that. Like, what I knew is that I know there's a saying which says the strongest man is not the man with the most strengths, but the one who knows most of his weaknesses. So over the years, I've, even looking on my music situation and just other little things in life, I've realized like, delegation is a big thing. You need a team around you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about the ego. I'm not doing something for me. Like, I wish to create a legacy, or I'm a creative guy. I wish to create things. I've never ever done things for me. Like, when I was doing music, I've never used my music spotlight just for myself. I've always created something. I created LRG. You know what I'm saying? I created New Camp. I've met these various names of people who, if you ask them their musical journey, they may not state Warren or Wariko, but deep down they will not. Like, I could go through many names, like, who mentored a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? Set them on their way, took time out of what I was doing. While I was doing my music, people have always said to me, Reeks, just move back to London and go and make music. You know what I'm saying? Just go and do it. The people want you, like, go and do it. You got this guy, that guy gets, this person, that person all feel it. Go and do it. You're on all the DVDs. You go one extra, just go and do it. You know what I'm saying? But I've always felt like, I don't know, like a little obligation to build people who are around me in my own city. So like, yeah, like I just knew when it came to this, that same characteristic came out. It was like, right, I knew that I wished to build upon this seed. I wished to plant this seed, but I knew that this isn't going to be a fruit that only I eat. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you mean. And just to add to something that you'd said earlier, and a little bit to what you're saying now, you clearly had just a natural ability to talk to people. You want to help people. You were always the kind of person that wants to feel part of a community. And when you've got a lot of people saying, you know what, you should turn this into a commodity, you should make this viable, you should, you know, get some money from it. I don't think it's a coincidence that you said no. And I think what happened is there were so many voices saying, well, you're already doing it, so you might as well scratch the itch, which kind of goes into the ethos of the show, because we've talked quite a lot about, you know, what are we doing with this? And part of the thing is that we want to give a platform to people to have a voice, but so the voice that they have isn't the truth, but the discussion is the important thing, isn't it?
Definitely.
I feel like sometimes, particularly people who have had an illustrious career, particularly people who don't mind paying for good quality, and people who are they reap the benefit of being generous, but they've had a lot of privilege because of that, because you've worked hard for it. I think they're often judged as non-altruistic. And I feel like it's a really important point to make sure that people know that this show isn't just to make money, is it?
No, not at all. It's not. It's to create, like I say, legacy. It's to create something which also, it's going to be a medium. It's going to be a platform that people, it's going to become a commodity. I've manifested it. Different people. I've believed that the universe is going to bring the right people to come. And people may leave, but the universe is going to, and this is going to be a platform that people wish to be on.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be beneficial to sit down in front of that sign and come and speak your truth. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're promoting something, whether you know what I'm saying? So definitely, that is, it all ties in with the ethos of the man that I am, and it will also incorporate the ethos of the people who the universe has sent to come and be a part of it. Yourselves, you know what I mean?
And just to kind of finish off this little bit of segment, we were all really surprised when we started the show that we discovered that we all had strengths and weaknesses which were very different from when we first started working.
Yeah.
And one of yours was that you were really good at playing devil's advocate, that you were great in front of the camera, but it's actually quite exhausting. Can you tell us just a little bit about what it's like? Because you've had 2 hosts next to you, 1 host next to you, you interview, you present, you're having to remember 5 things. Can you just give us a snapshot of the reality of having to traverse between these different roles? Because I think people are fascinated because they're like, has he been trained? Has he done television work?
Yeah.
I don't think they understand how hard.
Yeah. Like I say, what I would say is, never has it been truer that your path, every obstacle and every part of your journey has been to prepare you for what you're about to do now, for the door you're about to open. So what I would say is, if I hadn't had treaded the path which I have treaded, my music, my little hustling days, hustle bustle, learning how to influence somebody, learning how to sell this to somebody, learning how to deal with different types of people, you know what I'm saying? Learning how to be a chameleon, being a chameleon of life. I wouldn't be able to do this. You know what I mean? Like, my days of creating movements, like the LRG movement, which a lot of people from Nottingham, I can't think of the demographic or the age group, but they will know LRG will be a big part of a lot of people's life. You know what I'm saying? Which was created. People were recruited. You know what I'm saying? New camp. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, if I hadn't, everything what I've done has prepared me to be able to be this guy now. From my Auntie Joan teaching me, showing me to read certain books, Yahtzee, like Scrabble, this, that, like, you know what I'm saying? The books which I've read from a young age. I remember at the age of like 11 reading a Jones Collins novel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember reading a Jones Collins novel. Like, I can't remember what it was, but it was a purple cover. And I remember these sex scenes, and you know what I'm saying, from young, listening to arguments that my mum and my stepdad were having, grown conversation that they probably would have gasped if they knew I was listening to what they were saying, but I was in the bedroom, like, listening to every word of the argument. Everything's prepared me for this now, and like, it's definitely not easy. Like, I've had times, like, as much as I've done a lot of shows and performed at this place, and you know what I'm saying, like, broken personal barriers within music, and always been in front of a camera, DVDs and One Extra and this radio. You know what I'm saying? Like, being in front of this camera, having to speak as opposed to doing my lyrical thing over a beat in front of thousands of people, like, being in this intimate space, having to do this over a camera has been one of my hardest, like, it's been one of my hardest transitions. Like, and I've had times where I am shitting myself. Like, I'm nervous as fuck. Yeah, but I know I can't project that onto everybody else. So I've had to have broad shoulders and just hold it. There's been times where Lily was telling me like, oh, I'm not too ready for this one. And I know she's leaning on me for moral support. And I'm saying to her, you're all right. You're all right. Little does she know, I need somebody to lean on. I'm like, where can I lean? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this ain't been easy. It definitely ain't been easy, but it's been super worth it. And there's also another lady who I spoke to, and she is, I don't know whether to call her a white witch or what.
She's
But
magical, isn't she? She's got some magic.
listen,
Does she describe herself as a white witch?
I'm sure when I've sent her a message and I've said, I love you, my white witch,
Oh, she's
she's accepted it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And she's already told me that this is my calling. She says, she's told me that just have faith in it. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be rocky like your life has, because nothing I've ever had has come easy. Music, it's never come easy. I've had my times of calling people and saying, yeah, DJ, come here. Yeah, it's Wariko. Who? Wariko. Wariko. You know what I'm saying? I've had my times of putting out stuff and people are like, fuck, this guy's accent, he sounds like a fucking twat. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing I've had has ever come easy. Like, from moving schools, from my childhood, you know what I'm saying? Like, from being in flipping house raids from a young age, you know what I'm saying? Like, from seeing, like, I can go so deep, you know what I'm saying? All the childhood pain you want to talk about, I can talk about that, you know what I'm saying? Like, from, you see what I'm saying? But nothing's ever been easy. And yeah, she says that this is going to be exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be exactly the same. It's not going to be easy. People are going to come, people are going to go, but the universe will bring the correct people to the table. And she says that, I'm not going to say the time scale, but she said, I'm going to do this for a certain time and I'm not going to be a part of it anymore. But she said that it will continue without me.
Wow.
So I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like I say, this cannot be about Wariko. It's bigger than this. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than this. Me, myself, as a person, I've always liked to feel as though if I was to die tomorrow, my life legacy would be bigger than me. Like, I would hope that all these people that I put my time into, you guys know who you are. Like, you don't have to say it now, but I would hope that at my funeral or in your biography or whatsoever, you guys will speak about the influence that I had on your thing, you know what I'm saying? And that's from music to this to life. People have helped, people, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just like to think like it should always be bigger than yourself. That's not just for me, that's for anybody. Because if we'd done that, then the world itself would be a lot more about the power of love. That we would, if everybody impacted even 10 other people in a positive way away from their own little bubble, then, you know, imagine if everybody done it. The numbers, it speaks for itself. The world would be a better place if we actually focused on being a positive influence to 10 other people as opposed to yourself. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the show, that, like I say, it's going to continue without me. Like, I believe it. So, yeah.
So on that note, we're going to end this little segment here, but we're now going to throw some questions open to the rest of the team, because I believe that they've been mining questions that the public have wanted to ask. They've got their own little questions that they think would be relevant, people would want to know. So, throwing it open. Has anyone got any questions?
You did a lot of music back in the day. That was your main thing, and the show isn't just the only thing you're doing. You're going to start doing more music again as well. and they're gonna maybe even go hand in hand, the show and
Mhm.
the music, and it's all part of the new chapter of your life.
Yep.
So now you're making a comeback. How has your approach to music and media in general changed this time around?
Well, I would like to, like I say, I feel like it's a creative bug, and the creative bug needs to be fed. Otherwise, it's going to eat me away. So I'm just going to naturally do what I do. You know what I'm saying? I don't wish to call it a comeback. I don't wish to put a terminology on it. But the way, like before, when everything I was doing was, I was thinking of like behind, like one of the main motives was like exposure to rise in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Whereas now it's like things will be a lot more methodical. Like we've got a theme track for the Lyin show, featuring produced by Claude Money and yourself. It's featuring Window Kid and Prez T. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the music what I make now will be methodical, and it won't be for the scene. It will more be for like the supporters, and with the mindset of just letting it do what it's supposed to do, as opposed to wanting it to get the most publicity or wanting to be seen as this big artist. You know what I'm saying? Just work with the universe, just put it out there and let it do what it does. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that answers that question.
When you started, you were around a lot of artists, not just grime, but artists in general, whose careers, some of their careers have since changed, grown, and/or shifted into the mainstream. I mean, some of the names from back then are considered now mainstream artists.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What do you think is the most important thing when it comes to artists growing in relevancy or maintaining relevancy?
Me personally, I believe authenticity, and this is just off the top of the head because it's real. Like I believe authenticity and keeping a certain identity and being true to that identity. Like I believe that is what gives you longevity as opposed to a bang. You know what I'm saying? Like many artists have a bang. We can name a lot of them. I'm not going to name them. I don't want to offend anyone, but you can have a bang, and then you can have people who like haven't made music for 4, 5, 6 years, but people still talk about them. You know what I'm saying? Like then you've got artists who, like Wiley has a bar where it says, "Kicked out the game's what you get me. I walk out the game, then I walk back in it." You know what I'm saying? Like to me, I resonate with that. Resonates with me because I'm like, oh, okay, so if you actually stand for something and have an identity that you're true to, you'll stand the test of time. You know what I'm saying? You won't. Yeah, music is art. It's showbiz. So it's like imagine you've got 50 pictures in your house, and that one in your living room is your favorite picture. But it's never going to be your favorite picture forever. The one in your kitchen may be your favorite in 1 year, and then next year someone asks, "Oh, let me see your favorite picture," and you're like, "You know what? My favorite one is actually the one in the bathroom." That's how I see music and artists. Like you're never the heat of the moment forever. Do you know what I'm saying? You're the heat of the moment, and then that person goes down, and then this person comes, and this person is the track of the week, and then do you know what I'm saying? So, but I believe that you stay true to that authenticity and that identity. And I believe people can't help but mention you years after you stop. You know what I'm saying? Because you stood for something. You were true to an identity. You know what I'm saying? It's the reason why I look over there and I see the Queen wore stolen diamonds, Great Britain, with the name Scorsese underneath it. You know what I'm saying? Or Radford, you get me. Mr. 4-5, Cancel a State of Mind, Skinny Man, Wiley. I'm not even going to try and name a track because there's many. You might want to say Eski, or you might want to say Eski Dance or Eskimo Dance, or, you know, you might want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different examples that personify what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, explain what I'm saying. Like, you stay true to something and be about something, and you stand that test of time. So that's what I believe.
That's a great question. Anyone else? Questions?
Yeah, earlier you were saying about all the local groups that you've started and you weren't really sure why. If you really think about it, like, why do you think it's so important to embrace your local scene?
It's as important as you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be important. Like you can have somebody from the town who makes music, gets big, and moves to another city and never pisses on anybody again. Never comes back, never helps nobody. And it's not important to that person because their life went, you know what I'm saying? Their career took off and they went and they're happy, you know what I'm saying? And then, so it's as important as you want it to be. So I'm not going to say that, I'm not going to state that it's universally important, but for me, I feel as though the word catalyst, somebody's always the catalyst for something, you know what I'm saying? And the catalyst might come in year, they might, let's say you've got like 7 different areas, and then there's a catalyst in area 1, and area 1's booming. It's only a matter of time before something has to be the catalyst spark for area 2. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I see it. Like, who's going to be the catalyst? What is the catalyst? You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I feel. I feel like when you talk about Nottingham grime, like, I have to feel like if you say a catalyst, you have to say Wariko. You know what I'm saying? And then on a deeper, on a bigger scale, it's like the catalyst for out of London grime, which covers everywhere out of London. You know what I'm saying? Before a Bugsy Malone or a H even, who to me is, I listen to H and I hear the grime format of spitting. You know what I'm saying? So the catalyst, that's why I say when you talk about UK grime or UK music, I just feel as though if you're really in the know-how and you're digging deep, you have to say Wariko. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel as though that, man, even if it's not in a big part of the book but I just feel as though somewhere that name Wariko has to pop up a few times. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a catalyst for certain things, you know what I'm saying? Which have a catalyst for this, which has gone on to do that, and that's now been a catalyst for this and that and that and that. You know what I'm saying? So
100%, it seems that can transcend to genres of music.
mm-hmm.
If one genre is getting really popular and doing things that hasn't really been done before, and that's yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And on that note, like competition and compared to like collaboration, do you think a lot of people see competition as a bad thing? I get asked a lot, you know, what about this competition? It's like, no, I don't know what you think of it.
Competition is to be embraced.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Competition is to be embraced, because the reality is that without competition, there's not a marker. There's nothing to beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody will end up, like Usain Bolt would have chased a record which made him great, because he would have ran that 100-meter and missed this record so much, but that made him go away, that for the next, coming up to the next event, that made him not just go away and bun the Jamaican weed and drink the Jamaican rum and chill and relax. You know what I'm saying? It made him be on his game, because he knew, I pushed myself to nearly death, and I still didn't beat that guy's record. until one day he slapped the record. You know what I'm saying? So I feel as though that's our competition, is it? It has to be embraced. Even if it's not embraced, the greats will always embrace competition because they will overstand that without it, they have nothing to go for. It's like I seen I don't know if it was an official cartoon, but you know, like the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. It's like as an 80s baby myself, yeah, I might be showing my age here, you know what I'm saying? But as an 80s baby growing up, watching Wile E. Coyote, always chasing this Roadrunner and getting fucked up, like snapped in two or flipping squashed or like all I know is Wile E. Coyote wants to eat the Roadrunner, and his whole life purpose is to eat the Roadrunner. He's making up all these crazy plans and whatsoever, yeah. And then let me break this down, yeah. And then so that's his whole life meaning. He's dedicated his life to get this Roadrunner. But then I've seen this one where he finally gets the Roadrunner, and the Roadrunner dies. And you know what Wile E. Coyote does? Sits down and cries his heart out, depressed, because now his whole life meaning, what's his life meaning? That's his competition. That's what he was striving for. And now there's none. So I put it to somebody who thinks they don't like competition. You think you don't like competition, but get rid of competition and see how fucked your life is. You know what I'm saying? You might have a girlfriend and you hate the fact that when she puts a picture up, these 30 guys like this girl's picture. But you make your girlfriend put up that picture and no guys like her picture. You may actually start thinking to yourself, no one even, like, am I the only one who likes my girlfriend? You know what I'm saying? I'm not encouraging that, but that's the human mind, the way it works. Sometimes, like I've heard, not to digress, but I've heard a woman say that every time she wants her man to put in a little bit more effort, she's got this fake account. She'll put up a picture and then she'll write something with this fake account like, love to take you on a date, or remember, and she finds that a man just puts in that little bit of effort. So competition is a humanitarian motivator. You know what I'm saying? We thrive off competition, even if we don't know it. So competition's to be embraced.
Was that deep?
It can be as deep as you want it to be. If you're a surface thinker, you can just see Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. But if you've got a mind like mine where you delve in and it goes down rabbit holes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
everything's a concept for something else.
And as one of the best segues on the internet, with people starting podcasts, what would you say is the most vital thing? You went through a lot of the challenges you found, but if someone's, a lot of people watching this are going to be thinking about doing something similar, what would you say the most important thing to focus on when you start is?
Like I say, authenticity. I'm a person, I just believe in a USP. And even if it's not a USP, which is very visible to somebody else, as long as you know what your USP is, if somebody asks you, what's your unique selling point? I believe everybody should be able to answer that question. Somebody says to you, what do you do? Oh yeah, I've got a such and such shop. What's the unique selling point? It's like, nah, I might be contradicting myself, because you can have a successful business which is just based upon another business. And they say that is the that can be the downfall of somebody trying to find something which has never been done. You know what I'm saying? But I just believe my crazy little philosophy in my head. I just believe if you can say to yourself, what is my unique selling point? You can't go wrong. And that is a deeper concept of life in that. I like to throw a gem in there for somebody who might be self-doubting themselves, or like, you as a person, if you want to find if you want to know what your value is, if you feel meaningless as a person, if you feel as though like, yeah, I'm just saying, I don't mean anything. No one cares about me. I'm nobody. Find a USP. What is different about you? Just anything. It could be just the minorest thing. It don't have to be like, yeah, I've performed in, you know what I'm saying? Because we're in the times of the age of showbiz where you're seeing everybody's life directly. So it can make you can be looking at somebody who you look up to and you're watching their life, and every day they're hitting a new checkpoint, and you're like, oh, and you press a like and you press a like, and it can make your life feel like, what checkpoints do I just get up and go work every day. You know what I'm saying? But what is your USP? If you can just find one, it doesn't have to be that you performed at Glastonbury or you've been given a new contract to build buildings over there, or it could just be something little that when people make me upset, I think before I react. That could be your USP, and that gives you something to focus on. And now you can believe in your individuality and build on it, believe in your self-value. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's the same concept with a podcast or a show or a whatever you wish to call it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is you want to start. I just feel like get your pen and paper out, because I feel like anything you're not prepared to write down, you're not serious about. So easy to say that you want to do something and but write it down on paper then. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to write it down on paper, I put it to you that you're not really that serious. You know what I'm saying? So when you're writing out your plan, what's your USP? If you can have that, that is the basis that is a platform to build from. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say. I can't say to somebody, do this or do that, because I'm not the guy with the crystal ball. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a worldwide podcast. I'm not Joe Rogan. You know what I'm saying? But I just believe, have a USP, have something, and then just build from that. And it will take you wherever you need it to go.
Over your time, you definitely collaborate with a lot of musicians. Who was your favourite one to collaborate with and why?
Gotta be Miss Dynamite, man. Like Miss Dynamite, growing up from even in my times in London, hearing her on the radio with So Solid and this and that, she represented something for me. Like she represented something, like she was underground but also mainstream. She was like a phenomenon. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to say was. Like Miss Dynamite is who she is. You know what I'm saying? And for me to end up in the studio with Miss Dynamite, that was like that to me was like that checkpoint of like, wow, you're making a tune with, everything's been worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like all these times you've been trying to find a way there and rejected for that, and then done that and this and that and buried, you know, like a flipping beaver, burrowing, trying to find something, and then boom, you find it burst into some water. That's what that felt like for me. That was like, wow, I'm here with Miss Dynamite. She's calling me to come and do shows with her, and she's paying me money as well. Something what she could have asked me to pay her, and I would have hustled up the money and paid her to go and do this. But she's giving me envelopes with money in this envelope to come and do it. Like, yeah, bro. Like, one day I might even drop a tear to myself when I sit back and go through my checkpoints. You know what I'm saying? But that collaboration with Miss Dynamite, like to this day, like, yeah, that was surreal, bro. Like when I was in that studio and I wrote that verse, "Don't cry for me when I die. It's better you mourn when I'm born." Like just that opening saying, like, I remember writing it and then coming back into the studio. And it's crazy because I weren't even supposed to be there. Like I went to go link J2K that day. And then I went to go link J2K. And he was like, yeah, he's gonna do gonna go and put something on Dynamite's mix CD. But when he said Dynamite, there was somebody called MC Dynamite. So I just thought, well, it's not gonna be Miss Dynamite. You know what I'm saying? That's how I thought. I thought it's not gonna be Miss Dynamite. It must be MC Dynamite. Yeah. So anyway, I followed him, and I remember going to this place in Old Kent Road, the studio, and we kind of got in there, and then he kind of just went in, and I was like, oh, and I was like, in this place, like, bare artists there, Gets was there, and this person, Gappy Ranks, and this person, and that person, and I was like, whoa, like, bare producers was in there, and I was like, wow, all these people in one place. And then, like, I remember I'm sitting there on my own, and Miss Dynamite's come out and says, oh, like, because obviously it was her session. So she must have been thinking, who are you? Like, can I help you? Like, are you here for some? And I'm like, anyway, she's like, do you want to write something? Probably like, she might even have said that to, you know, when you don't want, imagine you got a party or you're doing something and you know you've invited lots of people to come and do something, contribute, but you're looking at this person like, who's this person? So you tell them to contribute just so they can reveal the fact that they shouldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I felt. And then she was like, do you want to write something or do it? And I was like, yeah, why not? You know what I'm saying? So she took me into the studio room, and then when I got in there, it's like Logan Sama was in there. I looked to the right, Da Vinci was on the buttons, and Gets was sitting on this big speaker. I never forget, and there was a couple other people in there. It was just a mad little moment for me. And it was like, and she was like, yeah, Da Vinci, get him a beat. And Da Vinci started playing a few beats for me, and I was like, and then I heard this, and I was like, yeah, I'll take that one. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, yeah, just take it into that room over there, and you just go and write something, and then once you've written it, and just come and show us, and you may be able to record it. So I was like, okay. So I took this beat anyway, went, sat with it. Don't cry for me when I die. It's better you mourn when I'm born. You know what I'm saying? Wrote the first verse, went back into her, and says, oh yeah, I finished that verse. She was like, okay, do you want to record it? I was like, yeah, please. Gone into this booth to record, but it's like you've had to walk out of the studio and up a corridor and record up there. So when I was going in there, I was like, I remember calling my dad, like, Dad, guess what I'm doing right now? Like, because my dad's a man who's always said to me, like, listen, mate, music's a hobby, mate. It's not going to pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a bit of a dream crusher hearing your dad say that. But at the same time, because I'm a man, I understand what my dad was doing by saying that to me. He was trying to keep my feet on the ground and trying to make me know, like, listen, son, don't put all your eggs into this basket. It's a hobby. If it brings something, so be it. But make sure you do your plan B. You know, as a parent, this is probably go to uni and learn to become a doctor, and then you can do your fighting. Or there's so many cases of somebody saying that. Conor McGregor, his dad was like, go and do your plastering, or, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it was he was doing, and forget about fighting. What's fighting gonna do for you? You know what I'm saying? So call my dad, like, guess what? In the studio now, Miss Dynamite, just about to record. Yes, yeah, I'll call you back. Called my mum, said the same thing. Went in, recorded the verse. Listen, after I recorded the verse, I went back in the studio. When I walked in, I just felt energy in this room. Like, wow. Everyone was like blown away. And I remember, big up Akala, Akala's my brethren. Akala, I class him as a friend. If me and Nicola see each other, it's always a hug and a respect thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember hearing Miss Dynamite say to her brother, like, Kingsley, do you mind if this track is just me and Wariko? And I remember thinking, whoa, like, I wonder if he'll be a bit pissed. But he's a blessed, clean out guy, that guy, innit? Like, he weren't pissed. Yeah, but I just remember hearing her say that to him. Like, do you mind if this track is just me and Wariko, Kingsley? That's the brother and sister thing, you know what I'm saying? And then she went, laid her verse, and it was just like, I ended up staying over in London. She was like, yeah, are you going back? Like, do you want to stay? And she made sure I got to stay over. I wrote the second verse, boom, and the rest was just history. Like, that tune was like B-listed on Radio 1, I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just, went Maida Vale to perform it, went to like all around the country performing this track. Bournemouth Arena, in packed out stadium, Missy Elliott tour, you know what I'm saying? Like, recording it, and it was like, wow, like, I just remember the seed of that track growing to become what it was and elevated my name to what it was, which put me in a position to take light and shine that on other people who have used their light to become who they became. You know what I'm saying? So that is just the top. That's just the top for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was just amazing for me, bro. You get me? Crazy. Like, yeah, crazy. Serious.
So to anyone that's considering becoming a music hopeful, especially grime MCs, what would you say is different about the game back then to now, and how it's changed over the years?
You know what I believe? What I believe is what's changed about music. I feel as though, like, now, to me, music must go through a certain mechanism in order to. I don't think a number one track is a number one track anymore. I think the mechanism behind that track is what makes it a number one track. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like back in the day, a number, or I feel like back in the day, it was just based upon like talent and now I believe, like, the way, because once money corrupts everything. You know what I'm saying? So once money gets involved and people see that something is a financial commodity, people start to control it. You know what I'm saying? Just like there would have been a day where everyone had animals, I don't know, or people drank milk or what, but then somebody realized, like, oh, milk, everybody drinks milk, right? Trademark, this, that. You know, like, what is it? Can somebody help me with this? Monsanto or something. They're trademarking seeds. So now farmers cannot just grow their own corn. They must send off for the corn seeds. Imagine that. Crazy. Like, they've got to actually get their seed. And if they grow their own corn, they might get shut down. You know what I'm saying? Because they haven't grown the Monsanto seed. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you copyright a seed? What is a God-given organism? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like copyrighting water. If people can find a way to copyright oxygen, I'm very sure we'll have oxygen cards where you'll have to go to the shop and top up your oxygen. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, make them find a way to do it. And that's how I feel about music. It's like, to me, I feel as though like the era what I come up in, and this is why I don't have that same hunger for music anymore, because like, I feel like it was just a beautiful era where it was just a bit more free. It was a bit more loose. It was like, you know what I'm saying? Whereas now I feel as though like, you ain't gonna find a massive track that ain't had money put behind it. You've got a plugger. You've got this, you've got that. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be massive if it's not on Grime Daily. You know what I'm saying? And if it's not on Link Up TV, or if it's not on this or that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you do have your own personal account, I bet that person has had a big track on Grime Daily, a few on Grime, or a few on Link. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a mechanism now. That's what I see about music. So it's like, now you can't just be a musician. You got to understand the music business. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand so many other aspects of it. And that's what I would say the difference is. So I would say somebody getting involved in music now, try to understand the music business or set up a team. You know what I'm saying? Set up a team. Don't try and do it on your own. Set up a team, like, I don't know, somebody who actually understands the business. Having somebody like that around you will be beneficial. You know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of how I see it.
Great questions. Right, so it wouldn't be the Lyin show. We're going to finish now without finishing on a hero and villain theme. And what do we always write, Warren? We always say the villain first.
Yeah.
And we end on a high.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, you've got 2 quick fire questions. What is the worst part of making this show? And what is the very best part of making this show?
Listen, the worst part of making this show, yeah. Wow, you put me on the. Listen. The worst part of making this show, yeah, is me being the man that I am. I talk a certain way, and the way that I put things, I'm all about love. Anybody I'm working with, if I'm working with you and me and you have a working relationship, just know that I take you on as a brother or a sister. And the worst part about it is being misunderstood. That would be my worst, just straight up, like being misunderstood. And it's probably happened with everybody in the team. But at the same time, I take responsibility for that because I have a way of saying things. Like, I was that guy in the playground who could get, like, you would have someone who's saying things about me, boom, 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 nitpicking, or a girl who's like, yeah, but you're ugly, and then I just say this one thing, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Probably that's my gift and my curse with words, because it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, like, I've always had a way with saying something that I'm not even trying to make it too dramatic or say, but the way that I've said it has hurt somebody's feelings, and probably that's the worst thing about it. But it is what it is.
All right, now the hero. Ending on a high. What is the very best thing about making this show?
The very best thing about making this show is watching it build. Yeah? Watching it. Like I say, I make references to seeds. Yeah, because everything in life to me is a seed. You've got seeds of effort, seeds of thought. You know what I'm saying? A relationship is a seed. You know what I'm saying? The day she messaged you, or you messaged her, or you approached her, or she approached you, everything's a seed. And watching the seed of this show grow and seeing different people flourish, like different people, like some people, when I first met them, I thought they may be a bit bland. But then as time's gone along, I've seen jokes come out of certain guys, and people have hit me up and made me the brunt of the laugh. And I've just seen everybody, because like I say, this is definitely not a Wariko thing. This could not be what it is and what it's about to be, what it's going to be, just with me. There's people behind who do crazy things that if it weren't for them, it just couldn't be what it is. You know what I'm saying? So seeing the growth of the individuals that I'm working with and seeing us as a team, even with the difficulties, the in-house disagreements, what we've had, but seeing us work through it like a family, and people, like times where we've been stressed and it's like, this ain't fucking fun no more. Like, you know what? If everybody says they don't want to do this no more, you know what? I'll probably breathe a big fucking sigh of relief. Yeah, but seeing that everybody, we go through that time and we still come back next week as like we're gluttons for punishment, because we all are invested in this seed, and watching it grow has been one of the most beautiful things, and is the hero of this thing. Like, it is the best thing about the I Ain't Lying show, watching it grow. And I just can't wait to watch it grow, because it's got so much more growth to go. You know what I'm saying? As it stands right now, it's a seed what hasn't even, it's probably just sprouting up. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't even grew any leaves yet, or definitely not no branches. So just watching it grow is a beautiful thing. What can I say?
Sick. Thank you very much. Let's have a round of applause for Warren Wariko.
And also, I'd just like to say, don't forget to follow us on all the mediums that we're hooked up to. On the Instagram, follow I_ain't_lyin_show. If you're on Facebook, follow the I Ain't Lying Show page. I believe we have a TikTok, the I Ain't Lying Show. And what's the others? The YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, the I Ain't Lying Show. And like I say, just watch the growth of this. And also, do not forget to check out the other episodes also. Like, we're in season 1 right now. We're on the growth. Like I say, the seed is growing. Yeah, so just go check out the other stages. Go check out the other episodes. Big up all the people who have been a part of making this show what it is, the growth of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, big up Emily, Tom.com, big up Sonu, you know what I'm saying? Whips, you know what I'm saying? Lils, just big up everybody, voice in the corner, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think, I don't even want to leave anybody out, but yeah, just big up everybody, man, and just, like I say, teamwork makes the dream work. So guys, we look forward to your support, and just keep watching it grow. I ain't lying.